Your Excellencies, colleagues, I will try to present kind of a perspective from the Eastern European city of Riga. I come from the city where overall number of refugees right now is roughly about 250. When I say 250, I mean 250 and a full stop. And when I operate with figures like this, I do feel uncomfortable being seated in between mayors of two German cities, knowing the magnitude of the problem you face. And when I say 250 refugees, that means Riga is a highly homogeneous city with 99% of inhabitants being white Christian. And this pattern, when we talk about demographic patterns, is pretty similar among majority of Eastern European countries and Eastern European cities. And when we talk about further on about attitudes of the people of Riga and in general in Eastern Europe, people in general are extremely highly negative when we talk about refugees. On one hand, this can be explained by absolutely irrational factors. People don't like things they don't know, and that's why they behave like this. On the other hand, they watch on TV stations challenges and the problems Western European countries face when they deal with refugee crisis, and they also pretty often see some certain mistakes being made in countries in Western Europe dealing with refugees. And as a result, on one hand, you can blame society for the attitude. On the other hand, this attitude in Eastern Europe, I would say, is extremely dangerous. It's dangerous for the future of the European Union, because on one hand, it undermines the main principle of the European Union, solidarity, because you cannot really participate on one hand in redistributing finances from European funds, but on the other hand, saying, no, we do not participate in redistributing refugees from other European countries. It cannot work like this. This attitude also undermines the unity of the European Union and the whole idea of the conference today. We deal with Europe and we deal with refugees as our brothers and sisters. So we need both attitude and we need united Europe. And with this respect, I truly believe that the capacity of cities is larger and stronger than capacities right now of national governments. And that's why I strongly believe that putting cities together from Western and part of the European Union and Eastern part of the European Union can really help us in trying to narrow down this gap and making the continent united. And this will be one of the topics that will be discussed next year, May 11th, 12th, in Riga during the summit of mayors of European capitals, when we will talk about the future of the European Union and the role of the cities, trying to provide stability and development for our continent, and refugees will be one of the main topics. Because otherwise we see another dimension for another crisis in the European Union undermining on our continent and being not able to deal with refugee crisis. And also another thing I would like to add when we talk about Eastern Europe, the role of church is extremely important. In my city, where we've got in roughly close proportions Lutherans, Catholics, Russian Orthodox, Baptists, and Orthodox all believers, church matters. And church attitude when I talk about refugees, when I talk about dealing with people coming from other countries, it really matters. So I would like really to use the opportunity and to express gratitude to all the confessions in our city that really try to deal with the citizens and trying to bring the proper attitude towards people coming to our country, but we need more. So cities on one hand, and getting Western and Eastern parts of European Union united in their attitudes, that's what really matters. That was a small perspective from a city of Riga in Latvia. Thank you.